That hot dog package in your fridge right now, if it says no added nitrites, check the ingredient list for celery extract. Diane Lefebvre reached for the same one at her Metro in Ottawa last Thursday. The front of the package said no artificial preservatives, no fillers, no added nitrites. She paid $2 more because the label said exactly what she had been looking for. 22 Canadians did not come home from the plant that still supplies 3 of the brands in her grocery aisle. 6 brands to avoid. 3 that earned the recommendation. The name of the parent company. The regulatory gap that lets them print uncured on a product that delivers identical nitrite chemistry. The named alternatives that cost the same or less per serving. Celery extract as a nitrite delivery mechanism is banned from being labeled uncured in several EU markets. Health Canada permits the labeling. The chemistry is identical. The label is not. Here is what the packaging was designed not to tell you. Number 1. Maple leaf. In 2008, a Maple Leaf Foods production facility at Plant 97B on Barter Road in Toronto was linked to a listeria outbreak. 22 Canadians did not come home. 57 confirmed listeriosis cases across multiple Canadian provinces. Close to 80% of the people affected were elderly residents in long-term care homes, Canadians who had no say about what ended up on their plates. The contamination at Plant 97B had been present in the plant's own environmental testing for months before public action was taken. Inspectors visited regularly. They did not catch it. Maple Leaf recalled more than 220 products. Class action settlements reached up to $27 million. The Public Health Agency of Canada's joint investigation concluded the outbreak was preventable. No Maple Leaf executive faced criminal accountability. Not for what happened to those 22 families. Pick up a Maple Leaf Originals package. Read the ingredient list from the beginning. First ingredient, mechanically separated chicken. A paste produced by forcing carcass remnants through a sieve under pressure. It is what remains after the primary cuts are removed. Processed until it can be extruded into a casing. Combined with pork, water, modified cornstarch, sodium phosphate, sodium erythorbate, and sodium nitrite. One standard hot dog, roughly 400 milligrams of sodium. That is 20% of your full daily recommended intake. 2 per serving is how most Canadians eat them. That puts you at 40%, before adding a bun, condiments, or sides. In 2015, the WHO classified processed meat as a Group 1 carcinogen, the same category as tobacco in terms of scientific certainty, not the same magnitude of risk. Sodium nitrite forms carcinogenic compounds under cooking heat. Health Canada permits it. For an elderly parent already managing blood pressure, 800 milligrams of sodium from lunch alone. That is the specific shopper Plant 97B's failure touched most. The production record has not changed. The market share has not changed. Maple Leaf also owns Schneider's, Burns, and high-grade Ballpark Franks. 4 different packages from one corporate accountability record. The next brand on this list is one of those packages. Before Maple Leaf goes in your cart, Frabee, Grimm's, and Pillars all name their producer, carry clean CFIA compliance records, and cost a comparable price per serving. The accountability you cannot find on a Maple Leaf label is on every one of those. The most documented Canadian processed meat failure, marketed as a reformed national brand. Mechanically separated chicken listed first. A production failure whose accountability record was never fully closed. The brand that follows carries a longer history on its label, and a specific deception built into the label itself. Number 2. Schneider's. Maple Leaf has a production failure it has never fully closed. The second brand trades on a history that predates Maple Leaf by more than a century, and a label that markets that history, long after it stopped being independently relevant. John Metz Schneider opened his butcher shop in Kitchener, Ontario in 1890. That history is real. Schneider Corporation built a genuine Canadian processing tradition. Across more than 100 years, the Kitchener heritage on the Schneider's label was earned. Maple Leaf Foods acquired Schneider Corporation in 2003. When the 2008 listeria outbreak and recall happened, Schneider's products were included in it. Same parent company. Same production infrastructure. Same recall. two brand names above the door of one accountability structure. The independent butcher shop history stopped mattering in 2003. Here is where the label does its specific work. Schneider's Country Naturals uses the word natural prominently on the front panel. The ingredient list still contains sodium nitrite. Natural and nitrite-free are not the same regulatory declaration. The word natural on the Country Naturals label does targeted work on one shopper, the parent reading labels for their children, the one already paying attention, the one who will pay $2 more per package. That word communicates exactly what they are looking for. Schneider's knows it communicates something the product does not deliver. Pick up the Schneider's Country Naturals package. Run your finger along the back panel until you find sodium nitrite in the ingredient list. It costs Schneider's almost nothing to print the word natural. It earns them a premium from the people. Working hardest to avoid what that word implies is absent. For a parent paying the Country Naturals premium, specifically for the natural labeling, buying it 5 days a week in a child's school lunch, the celery extract chemistry in the naturally cured line makes no meaningful difference to the nitrite exposure. The premium was paid for a word on the packaging, not for a change in what is inside. Before Schneider's goes in your cart, if you are paying the Country Naturals premium, redirect that budget to Freybe or Pillars. Both use shorter ingredient lists, and neither charges extra for a label claim the chemistry does not support. Over a century of Kitchener butcher heritage marketed as an independent standard, the same listeria recall as maple leaf, the same sodium nitrite the front label implies, is absent. A premium charged to the shopper most carefully trying to avoid it. The brand that follows does not trade on heritage. It trades on price. Number 3. No name. Schneider's charges a premium for a heritage it has not independently owned in more than 20 years. The third brand charges less, and the accountability gap behind the price is structurally identical. The yellow label. Black text. Honest value since 1978. Genuine familiarity built across Canadian families over generations. No-name hot dogs are a Loblaw company's limited private label. The manufacturer is a contract processor. That name does not appear anywhere on the packaging. The production facility is not identified. The supply contract can be reassigned without notifying you. And the yellow bag looks identical, regardless of which contracted processor is behind it that year. Pick up your no-name wieners. Turn the package over. Find the name of the company that made what is inside. Not Loblaw. Not no name. The actual manufacturer. You will not find it. That absence is a policy decision, not a printing omission. That gap creates a traceable accountability problem. When a Freybe product has an issue, there is one facility to investigate, one ownership group to call. When a no-name product has an issue, Loblaw must first identify which contracted processor made that specific batch. For any household managing a food allergy, the traceability that matters is not brand level. It is facility level. No name gives you no facility. In May 2025, an Ontario Superior Court approved a $500 million settlement against Loblaw and George Weston for a 14-year bread price-fixing conspiracy. That is the entity managing sourcing decisions. For the yellow label in your cart. Before no-name hot dogs go in your cart, any named producer brand, Freybe, Grimm's, or Pillars, gives you the facility and the owner. The yellow label is designed to keep from you honest value since 1978 marketed. An unnamed contract manufacturer. No identified facility. The parent company behind Canada's largest consumer fraud settlement. The brand that follows has a name on the label. What it does not have is an ingredient list that matches 60 years of consumer trust. Number 4. Oscar Mayer. No name's accountability gap is structural. The manufacturer is absent by design. The fourth brand has a name on the label and a production record you can research. What you find when you read the ingredient list does not match what 60 years of a jingle built. Oscar Mayer. The yellow package. The name most North American adults heard before they could read a label. For 6 decades, Oscar Mayer communicated one thing: familiar, trusted, classic. That familiarity was built. The ingredient list is a different story. Oscar Mayer is owned by Kraft Heinz, Formed in 2015 through the merger of Kraft Foods Group and H.J. Heinz Company, two of the largest food corporations in the world. Oscar Mayer Classic Wieners. Mechanically separated chicken, pork, water, modified cornstarch, sodium lactate, sodium diacetate, sodium phosphate, and sodium nitrite. 4 separate sodium compounds in a single product. The ingredient list reads like a chemistry inventory, not a recipe. Pick up that yellow package right now. Count the sodium compounds in the ingredient list. 1 standard wiener, approximately 460 milligrams of sodium, 23% of your daily recommended intake. 2 at a cookout, 46% before a bun, condiment, or side has touched your plate. For a child eating Oscar Mayer wieners in a school lunch 5 days a week, over 4,600 milligrams of sodium per week from this one product alone. The recommended daily limit for a child aged 4 to 8 is 1,200 milligrams total. The lunch, built on a trusted brand name, exceeds the full daily recommended limit in a single serving. Before Oscar Mayer goes in your cart, the jingle is not an ingredient list. Frybae European Wieners uses 5 ingredients: pork, water, sea salt, spices, natural smoke, and costs a comparable price per serving. The difference is not premium versus budget, it is what is inside. 6 decades of jingle brand familiarity marketed. Mechanically separated chicken, 4 sodium compounds. An ingredient list that has never matched the trust the name was built on. If you did not know any of this, there are 2 more brands in this video, and a new investigation every week. Subscribe before we get to number 5. The 5th brand is the most calculated entry on this list, specifically engineered for the Canadian shopper, who just read all 4 of these entries, now certain they know exactly what to avoid. Number 5. Maple Leaf Natural Selections. Oscar Mayer relies on familiarity. The 5th brand is more precise. It reads the label reader and writes the label for them. Pick up a Maple Leaf Natural Selections package. Read the front panel carefully. No artificial preservatives. No fillers. No byproducts. Naturally cured. No added nitrites. Now read the ingredient list. Pork, chicken, water, sea salt, sugar, celery extract, spices. Celery is naturally high in nitrates. When celery extract enters a curing process, those nitrates convert to nitrites. The same curing chemistry sodium nitrite delivers, under the same processing conditions, forming the same compounds under cooking heat. The label can legally say no added nitrites, because the nitrite arrives through celery extract, rather than direct sodium nitrite addition. That distinction is technically accurate in a regulatory sense. It is not meaningful in a chemical or health sense. The World Health Organization's 2015 Group 1 carcinogen classification for processed meat did not exclude naturally cured products. Consumer Reports documented this gap directly. The American Cancer Society has addressed it. Health Canada permits the celery extract method. The direction of what forms inside the product during cooking does not change based on the pathway the nitrite arrived through. There is no change in taste, no change in texture, no change in smell, no sensory signal available to any consumer that distinguishes natural selections from a conventionally cured hot dog. What the consumer experiences is the front panel and the natural selections price point, which sits $2 to $3 above Maple Leaf Originals. The premium is for the label. The chemistry is the same. Think about who buys natural selections, not the shopper grabbing the cheapest package. The parent who read the first 4 entries in this video and is now certain they know exactly what to avoid. The one who was already paying the most attention. That is the specific shopper this product was designed for, and the front panel was written to succeed with that shopper and no one else. Before natural selections goes in your cart, you are paying a premium for a regulatory distinction without a chemical one. Apply that budget to Grimm's or Pillars, shorter ingredient lists, honest sodium nitrite declaration on the label, and no charge for a claim the chemistry does not support. The most calculated consumer targeting in the Canadian hot dog aisle, engineered for the shopper trying hardest not to be misled. Dressed in the language of health, priced as a premium for the label's deception. Number 6. Olymel. Natural Selections targets the Canadian shopper, who was already reading every label. The 6th brand targets a different shopper, the one who rejected maple leaf entirely, rejected every private label, and went looking for something structurally different from everything above. Canada's largest pork processor, cooperative-owned. Canadian roots going back to 1922. On paper, exactly what you would choose after the first 5 brands. Here is what the cooperative structure did not prevent. Between 2021 and 2024, Olymel closed at least 8 Canadian processing plants and eliminated thousands of jobs across Quebec and Ontario. The Valley Junction plant in Quebec, close to 1,000 workers. A town of roughly 7,000 people. Drive through Valley Junction today. The closure is visible in the main street. Olymel reported a loss of $446 million in 2022. It returned to surplus in 2023. By restructuring those losses onto the workers and the communities that built the cooperative's production capacity. The workers did not make the financial decisions that produced the $446 million loss. They absorbed the consequences of those decisions. The label continued to say cooperative-owned. In 2019, China suspended Olymel export permits, following a mislabeling issue at the compliance level of an organization whose brand rests on accountability. In 2011, a recall was issued for possible listeria contamination in cooked Olymel products. When you reach for Olymel specifically, because it sounds more Canadian, more trustworthy, more aligned with your values after everything above, the brand is doing exactly what it was built to do. The cooperative structure is the front. The Valley Junction workers and the export compliance failure are the rest of the story. Before Olymel goes in your cart, Grimm's Fine Foods, still privately owned, family-operated in Cloverdale, BC since 1971, offers single-facility accountability and a clean CFIA record, without the plant closure history. Accountable Canadian cooperative marketed. A $446 million loss absorbed by plant communities. A mislabeling export suspension. A recall. The cooperative label was designed to make you not associate with cooperative ownership. Recommended brands. 3 brands earned the recommendation for one reason that runs through all of them. The manufacturer is named. The facility is identifiable. And when something goes wrong, the accountability runs to a specific person in a specific location. None of that exists for any private label on this avoid list. Number 1. Freybe. Langley, British Columbia. Founded in 1959 by Gerhard Freybe, who was a master sausage maker from Germany, acquired by Premium Brands Holdings Corporation in 2014, disclosed, because every ownership fact on this channel is disclosed. The acquisition did not change the formulation. Freybe European wieners, pork, water, sea salt, spices, natural smoke. 5 ingredients. No mechanically separated protein. No modified cornstarch. No multi-compound sodium system. Sodium nitrite present and declared clearly on the label. Because sodium nitrite in a product honest about containing it is a different proposition from a product that charges a premium to imply it is absent. The texture difference is real and detectable. Whole muscle pork without starch fillers produces a different density, a different snap from the casing, and a different flavor profile than a product built on mechanically separated chicken and cornstarch filler. Clean CFIA compliance record. No documented mass production failure. Available nationally. Typically priced between $6 and $10 per package. Number 2. Grimm's Fine Foods. Cloverdale, British Columbia. In business since 1971. Still privately owned. Still family operated. No acquisition to disclose. In a category where every major brand on this avoid list has been absorbed into a larger corporate structure at least once, Grimm's is the genuine exception. 1 facility, 1 ownership group, 5 decades of operational continuity. Grimm's wieners, pork, chicken, water, sea salt, spices, paprika, natural smoke, sodium nitrite. No mechanically separated protein in the primary lines. No cornstarch filler. Sodium nitrite present and declared clearly. If something goes wrong, you know exactly who is responsible and where they operate. That accountability does not exist for any private label on this avoid list. Distribution concentrated in Western Canada. Safeway, Save-On Foods, and independent butchers across BC and Alberta. Typically priced between $6 and $9 per package. Number 3. Pillar's Fine Foods. Waterloo, Ontario. Founded 1940 by Wilhelm Piller, a German master sausage maker, acquired by Sofina Foods in 2013, disclosed. The acquisition did not change the formulation. Pillar's European-style wieners. No mechanically separated protein as the majority base. No modified cornstarch filler. Sodium nitrite declared clearly. Sofina Foods carries no bread price-fixing conviction, no documented mass production failure connected to Canadian consumer harm. For Eastern Canadian shoppers who cannot consistently access Frabie or Grimm's, Pillar's provides the clean formulation alternative, with strong national distribution across Ontario and into Quebec. Typically priced between $5 and $8 per package. What Frabie, Grimm's, and Pillar's have in common: a named producer, an identifiable facility, and accountability that runs to a specific person. That traceability does not exist for any private label on this avoid list. It is the minimum standard the hot dog aisle should deliver by default. This is not 6 separate brands. It is one aisle, operated on the agreement that the consumer trusts the label, and the corporation controls what the label is permitted to say. Every entry on this list made the same calculation. The regulatory gap is more profitable than closing it. Diane Lefebvre will be back in that metro aisle next week. She will reach for the same package, not because she does not care. She was reading the label. The packaging was designed to ensure that the most careful shoppers never need to look further than the front panel. 6 brands. A production failure whose accountability record was never fully closed. A heritage label trading on a history it has not independently owned for more than 20 years. A private label whose manufacturer is structurally unidentifiable by design. 60 years of jingle brand familiarity built over a 4-compound sodium system. A premium product that converts the language of health into a pricing mechanism, aimed at the shopper already paying the most attention. A cooperative whose workers absorb the cost of decisions they did not make. None of it is on any label. The label was designed to make sure it does not have to be. You have what Diane does not. Check the producer. Read the full ingredient list. The information is public. The packaging was designed to make sure you never look for it. This is True North Consumer. Source document placement.